Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. How busy news around the NHL for pretty much every team in existence, except for the Coyotes, although Bill Armstrong with a common W, getting a third round pick and brokering the Patrick Kane deal from Chicago to New York. Pretty sure that's the best, return for being a third party retaining salary in a trade, a third round pick. That's amazing. If you thought like I did that the Weber taking on the Weber contract, fifth round pick wasn't that great, this all makes up for it, and we still wait for actual roster moves to be traded out of the Coyotes. Bukestad, sat out last night for trade related reasons. We're all just refreshing the socials to see what else Bill Armstrong's got cooking. But as you can see here, a lot of green on the board. This has been the best 10-game stretch in terms of every the 10th, the 20th, the 30th, and so on. From games 50 to 60, it's been their best 10-game stretch, going 5, 2, and 3. Unbelievable. Pretty much every stat has been really good. Almost every stat, out of the bottom of the league, and actually not too shabby. And then we'll get into a tank race, how players are performing. But I know everyone right now is just concentrating on what's happening with Chychrun. A lot of teams that are on Chychrun have made bigger moves. LA, Washington's made some moves. There's rumors about Pittsburgh getting Besser, or Calgary and the Hurricanes making a trade. So it seems like every team that was on Chychrun is doing other moves and paying attention somewhere else. But, maybe a team like Ottawa or Winnipeg could come through and execute the trade. So we'll just wait and see. Just got to get this video out, even though it's going to be outdated in a few hours. They play Dallas tonight in Texas. So yeah, game 61 will be in a few hours. So let's get into it. Games 4 per game. Increase just a little bit. 28th in the league there. Goals against per game decrease a little bit, but pretty much the same. 24th in the league in terms of goals against per game. That's pretty high for the Arizona Coyotes. Power play hovering near 19%. They just got Corey Stillman back, who was away from the team since December. So, hopefully the PP gets it a bit going. Penalty kill getting a little bit better, which I like to see, 75%. And finally, the save percentage is above 900. I've been waiting for this for a really long time. They've been so close, but some great performances by Vejmelka and Ingram lately just propelled them just above the 900 mark. And you can see they're 16th in the league for save percentage. So, goalies having a rough time out there this season. Goal scoring, pretty high, which is why 900 save percentage gets you literally middle of the pack average goaltending in the league. And the fact that the Coyotes are a tank team and they have average goaltending in the league doesn't really make sense. So we'll see what happens from there. Maybe that's why everyone wants Vejmelka on their team, I guess. Shot percentage, still in top 10 in the league. They've always been top 10 in the league since Andre Tourigny came on board. I say this every, progress video. This team knows how to score goals and execute goals better than they did under Rick Tocchet. Even though their goal scoring is less, they shoot less than Rick Tocchet. They just know how to put the puck in the net a little bit better than under Rick Tocchet. Shots on goal, like I said, last place in the league, still last. That's just Andre Tourigny's system. Not a lot of shots, but they execute on the few shots they get. But, last night was a nice change of pace. It seems like the Hawks had nothing going for them. Just managed just above 20 shots for the Hawks, whereas the Coyotes shot over 30 shots in a win to boot. So you rarely see that. One of the most boring wins last night, and I know for the Coyotes to win, it shouldn't be boring, but man, that Blackhawks team is just really depleted, a shell of its former self. I've never seen the Coyotes that tear down to just not even a skeleton, to basically nothing. At least over the years, during these numerous rebuilds, the Coyotes have built on some young guys, and they've always had some good players on their lineup, like Keller, Schmaltz. Back in the day, they had Domi and Duclair with Schmaltz and Keller. This rebuild, you got Krause, you got Chychrun, you got Hayden, you got Soderstrom. So there's at least young players who have been on the team for a long time. Some highly touted draft picks. Whereas Chicago, it's all new faces, not a lot of, recent high draft picks that they acquired. You got guys like Tyler Johnson and Seth Jones. Just a mixed match team. Honestly, I don't understand how they're not like severely last place in the league. At least Columbus, you got Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau there. So I really don't know how Chicago's doing it. I would, if I'm a betting man, I would say Chicago finishes last. Just last night, just a really poor performance from Chicago. Faceoffs, the Coyotes are really bad at faceoffs, last place in the league in faceoffs. Barrett Hayden's at 50%, which is great to see. Loving Hayden's game. I'll talk about him a bit later. But he's having a career year. He's literally matching the same pace as last year, but he only played about 60 games last year. This year, obviously, he's on pace to play every game, so he'll eclipse his point totals from last year, which was a career year. So great to see Hayden, always in front of the net. Just try to change his game from being a skilled, possessed forward with a nice shot to just going in front of the net and facilitating Keller and Schmaltz, centering that line. And then hits per game, 6th in the league in hits per game. It's increased a little bit from games 40 to 50. Love to see that because their fighting has decreased since last year. But as long as their hitting maintains to be tops in the league, that's like the new, MO and style and identity of the Coyotes is to be a hard team to play against, hard hitting, in your nose, grinding it out, heavy style. And if the fights aren't there, the hitting better be there. And, thankfully the hits are there, 6th in the league. If you're facing the Coyotes, you see them under schedule. Prepare for some bruises. And fighting's been up from games 40 to 50. They only had one fight, or at least from 50 to 60. They had 3 fights. There was 2 fights against Columbus. McBain had an awesome fight last night against former Coyote Jared Tenorti. Loving McBain. He is now centering the line of Michelli and Krause. McBain got a goal. Great to see him get rewarded for that. Hopefully he flourishes as our second line center, and hopefully it doesn't, decrease the production of Michelli or Krause. Because if we could get McBain going with those two, and that creates the same sort of magic that Bukestad had, that would be awesome. That a young prospect that we have meshes well with the second line, and we got a first line center in Hayden right now. So just adding guys like Cooley next year and picking up some other veteran centermen in the offseason just really helps bolster the roster a little bit. Let's get to the top 5 players. Keller and Schmaltz have been dragging this team the past 10 games. Keller's got 17 points in the past 10 games, and Schmaltz has got 13 points in the past 10 games. And Schmaltz has only played 44 games, so he's nearing that point per game pace. Keller's right there, 58 points in 60 games. You love seeing them be near point per game players. Every night they just love playing together, just feeding each other. Incredible passing plays by both of these guys. It makes watching Coyotes games so much more exciting and unbelievable. And it shows that the Coyotes have skill on their team. People from fans of other teams who don't watch the Coyotes much will see these two players doing their magic, and hopefully they see and be like, wow, these guys got some skill, some underrated skill. I say they've been dragging the team because no one, pretty much, Krause is up there, Ghost is up there. Krause has only got 3 points in his last 10 games. Gostisbehere only 2, due to being out with an injury and the trade-related reasons. But Michelli's got 8 points in his past 10. Hayden's got 7. Valimaki's got 8. So I would say, the honorable mentions for the past 10 games are Hayden and Valimaki. Valimaki taking over Chychrun's duties. Looks pretty good. He's always getting that secondary assist whenever Keller or Schmaltz feeds each other. Maybe, leaves a bit to be desired on PP1. He's a bit too stiff, not as agile or quick as Chychrun or Gostisbehere. So he's got to learn a little bit more being a power play specialist. But he's gobbling points and helping facilitate that top line. But other than Schmaltz, Keller, and Michelli, that's the only reason why the Coyotes are, well, and the goalies, as why the Coyotes are having their best 10-game stretch of the season. They started the year off with a 9-game regulation loss streak. So they come out of that. They get a 9-game point streak. 7 of those games are in this 10-game stretch. So they've been gobbling points. If you're on Team Tank, it's not too good of news. We'll see where it goes from here. The goalies, Vejmelka, almost 500 for a goaltender. 16, 18, and 5. 904 save percentage, 332 goals against average. You love seeing those goals against averages being way low than 4. There was times at the season where even Ingram was nearing 4 or above 4, but it's great. You got to bring those numbers down to 3, below 3. Obviously not this year, but in your career you want that goals against average below 3. Save percentage for Ingram, 908. He's finally made it. I've been saying this for so long. I think the 20-game report, maybe 30-game report, I kept saying you got to play Ingram. He's really good. Don't let that Edmonton 7-2 loss, change your perspective on Ingram. He's good. He had a great American Hockey League career, and we're seeing it now. I'm actually more in favor of Ingram than Vejmelka. I'm just way more confident with Ingram in net. Doesn't move around too much, really sound in his positioning. Reminds me of a Darcy Kemper. Whereas Vejmelka, some games, not last night, but some games kind of out of position, maybe second guessing some shots, gets beat from, way outside sometimes, but which is why, I'm favoring Ingram a little bit more. But both goalies playing really well, and maybe that's why some teams are interested in one, if not both of them. And then we get to the tank race. At the beginning of this 10-game stretch, they were about 10 points from last place. Now it's back to 5. At the 50-game mark, they were 5 points above last as well. So they didn't lose or gain much traction there. A lot of these teams have had pretty good, streaks in the past 10 games. Anaheim's been winning games, Chicago, Columbus too. They beat Buffalo last night. So they're not too far off. I would have liked for the Coyotes to lose against the Blackhawks, but it seems like it would have been a miracle considering what team the Blackhawks had on the ice last night. But, they play Dallas tonight, Arizona does, so most likely a loss. For me right now, I don't think they're going to finish last. I think, Chicago and Columbus are going to be pretty rough rosters moving forward. To me, I'm just hoping for a top 5 pick. If we guarantee a top 5 pick, then we're looking at, Will Smith being taken as a really good centerman. As long as the Coyotes are able to draft a high pedigree centerman, and I don't want them drafting Mitchkov due to his contract until 2026. Just if they're in that range of getting a really good centerman at the draft, that's all I really care about. I don't think they're going to get Bedard, so I think that ship has sailed. But you never know. Bill Armstrong might get a bit crazy here. Maybe he sees that Schmaltz and Keller are playing too well. Maybe he ships off Schmaltz. There's some rumors about Schmaltz. I don't really think they're grounded in reality. I don't think Bill Armstrong's going to do it. But you never know. It's all speculation, right? I hope he doesn't, and I'd be pretty disappointed if he does. But, if he really wants Bedard, he might actually do it. But I'm in the mindset that Bill Armstrong and the scouting staff just want a really good centerman, a high draft pick. It doesn't have to be Bedard, just like with last year's draft. They didn't want Shane Wright. They didn't want Slafkovsky. They had their eye on Cooley the whole time, and they got him. So all my trust is with the scouting department, and my mindset is that they're not going to get Bedard. But top 5, a top 3 pick would be great. But, hopefully teams like Anaheim and San Jose start to get it going, continue winning, and we'll see what Arizona does with their own destiny. They're about to catch the Vancouver Canucks, who find themselves back in the tank race. So that's it for me. A really good stretch of 10 games if you're not Team Tank. We're all just waiting for the news to finally break, the dam to break, the water to flow through, and see some trades and maybe get some shiny new toys to look at on the roster. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.